I never thought I'd be one of those guys who got completely blindsided by his wife's betrayal, but here I am. My name's Jake, and I was with Emily for about 3 years before we decided to get married. She's beautiful, confident, a little bit bitchy, kind of the girl everyone notices. I always thought we had a solid relationship, or at least I did until a few weeks before our wedding day. That's when everything started to fall apart, and I finally found out the truth about Emily that I wish I'd never seen. Looking back, there were little signs. She started acting a little distant, more focused on her phone than usual. She'd keep her phone close and hide it when I came into the room. Said she was just texting her friends, but I knew her friends. None of them were the type to send provocative messages or anything. Still, I let it go, thinking maybe she was just stressed about wedding planning or something. She'd also cancel plans at the last minute or get defensive when I asked if something was wrong. I figured maybe she was just overwhelmed, but deep down, I felt a weird tension. Not enough to suspect anything yet. Then, just a few days before the wedding, I decided to do some laundry on a whim. I was in her closet and I saw her phone lying there. She had forgotten it. I figured I'd check her messages quickly, just to see if she was stressed or hiding something. Honestly, I didn't think I'd find anything too crazy. I just wanted to ease my nerves. But what I found was a flood of messages, texts, pictures, and even some explicit talk that weren't just about wedding stuff or friendly banter. They were from her best friend, Sarah, and they were asterisk hot asterisk. They talked about sex like it was nothing, about sneaking around, about how much Emily loved the thrill of hiding things from me. The messages weren't just innocent flirtation, they were detailed. They talked about meeting up, about how Emily loved the fact that she could get away with cheating on me. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My mind raced. How long had this been going on? Did I even know my wife? The worst part was, I could tell she had been trying to hide. She'd delete messages, but somehow Sarah's messages remained. I stared at her phone in disbelief, feeling like I'd just uncovered not only her betrayal but also her complete disregard for me. How could she lie so effortlessly? How could she betray me so blatantly just weeks before our wedding? I was furious, hurt, confused, everything all at once. I knew I couldn't ignore this anymore. I had to confront her, but I also knew this was going to change everything forever. I took a deep breath and carefully put her phone down, trying to steady my hands. My mind was spinning. Part of me wanted to just throw everything in her face right then and there, but I knew I had to do this the right way. I needed to hear her side, her excuses, her lies, if she even had any. So I waited until she got home from work that evening, her heels clicking down the hall, her typical confident smirk plastered on her face as if nothing was wrong. When she finally walked into the apartment, I greeted her with a cold stare. She looked at me, that sarcastic half-smile still playing on her lips, and asked, "Hey, babe, what's up? You look tense." I didn't even bother hiding what I knew. I just stared at her and let the silence build, watching her squirm under my glare. Finally, I reached for her phone and held it out. "Who is Sarah?" I asked, voice low and steady but full of anger. She froze for a second, then quickly put on that bitchy attitude she always used to dismiss things she didn't want to face. "Oh, that, just my friend from college. We talk nothing special." Her voice was casual, like I was supposed to believe it, but I knew better. I had seen enough to know she was lying, that this wasn't just innocent chatting. I pressed her harder. "Those messages, explaining how you love sneaking around, how you get off on this secret sex with Sarah. Tell me, Emily, how long have you been doing this? How long have you been lying to me?" Her face twisted, and she turned her back to me, crossing her arms in that dismissive way she always did when she was trying to hide her guilt. "Oh, come on, Jake," she snapped, turning back to face me. "It's just stupid little flirtation. It doesn't mean anything. We're not even serious. It's just sex, you know. No big deal. You're overreacting." But her words sounded hollow, rehearsed. I wasn't buying it. I felt like my insides were burning, like I'd been punched in the gut again. How could she lie so easily? How could she dismiss what I saw like that? I was furious, but I kept my voice calm, something I knew I had to do if I wanted answers. "So you're telling me you're okay with sneaking around, with hiding this from me? Because I'm not. I saw the messages, Emily. I know what you've been doing and I want to hear it from you. How long has this been going on?" She looked like she wanted to say something, maybe deny it, maybe lie her way out of it, but I could see the cracks in her composure. Her eyes flickered and she finally sighed, crossing her arms again and giving me that bitchy smirk that I'd come to hate. "Fine. Yes, I've been seeing Sarah. I don't know what to tell you, it's not like it's serious. We're just having fun, sex. It's not like I don't love you. I mean, you're still my fiancé, right? What's the big deal?" That was the moment I realized she was good at lying, better than I ever thought. She dismissed everything so easily, like I was just overreacting, like I was some jealous fool who couldn't handle a little fun. That's when I felt the full weight of betrayal hit me. I was stunned, hurt, angry, all at once. How could she do this just weeks before our wedding? How could she lie to my face and act like everything was normal? I didn't even know who she really was anymore. After her flippant denial, I felt a surge of rage and heartbreak swirl inside me. I wanted to scream, to break something, to make her see how much she'd shattered everything I believed in. But instead, I took a deep breath and tried to keep my voice steady. I needed to hear the full story, and I needed to be clear on what this meant for us. "So, Emily," I said, voice low but firm, "how long has this been going on? Since when have you been sneaking around, hiding things?" From me, her eyes flickered again and she shrugged like she didn't really care, which only made it worse. "Honestly, a few months," she admitted with that same bitchy smirk. "Maybe longer, I don't keep track, it's just sex, Jake. It's not like I loved her or anything, I don't even think about it when I'm with you. It's just a bit of excitement, that's all. You're so uptight sometimes, I needed a little adventure." Her words felt like a slap. She was minimizing everything, making it sound trivial, like I was overreacting to her betrayal. I looked at her, feeling a mixture of disgust and despair. How did I miss all of this? How could I have been so blind? I thought we were building something real, something solid. Turns out, it was just a facade for her to play her little games. I was supposed to marry her in a few weeks. I'd planned the whole thing, put so much hope into us, and now I was standing here, realizing I'd been nothing more than a fool. Her attitude was infuriating. She kept throwing in these little jabs, how I was too serious, how she needed this fun, how I was just jealous and insecure. But I wasn't jealous, I was furious, betrayed. I thought about how she'd lied, how she'd been so good at hiding this side of herself. I felt like I didn't even know her anymore. The girl I'd trusted, the girl I'd loved, she'd been lying right to my face, hiding this affair from me all along. I knew I had to decide what to do. Part of me wanted to just walk out right then, never look back. The other part wanted to explode, to make her feel the pain she'd inflicted. But I also knew I needed to hear everything, get all her excuses and lies out in the open. So I pressed her again, asking if there was more, if she'd been doing this with anyone else, if she was still doing it now. She hesitated, then gave me that smirk again, the one that made me want to punch her. "No, just Sarah, just her. And honestly, it's over now. I swear. I've realized I don't want to hide anymore, so I'm done with her. I love you, Jake. I want to marry you. I was stupid, okay? I was bored and I made a horrible mistake. Just a mistake." Her words didn't convince me, not really. I could see the truth in her eyes. She was lying again, probably to herself too. But I also knew I couldn't keep going like this, not without consequences. The betrayal had cut me too deep. I'd be lying if I said I didn't still love her, but that love was coated in thick layers of betrayal and distrust. I didn't know what the future held anymore, but I knew this couldn't just go back to normal. Not after this. The next few days were a blur. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and I kept replaying everything I found. Every word she said, every smirk, every lie. It all felt like a punch to the gut. I was furious at her, but more than that, I was hurt. How could she do this to me, just weeks before we were supposed to start our lives together? I kept asking myself if I'd missed the signs, if I'd somehow been blind to her true nature all along. The pain was overwhelming, and I honestly didn't know what to do. I felt like I was stuck in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I knew I needed a plan, some way to get her back, or maybe to just get even. I didn't want to let her think she could get away with this, not without consequences. That's when I started to think about revenge, not in some destructive way, but enough to make her understand how deeply she'd hurt me. I started to realize she always loved to play the victim, to dismiss her actions with a petty excuse, like I was overreacting or I was just jealous. But now I saw the truth. She was the one who'd been unfaithful, who'd lied, who'd manipulated her way out of this. One night, I decided I'd had enough of feelings and tears. I sat down with my laptop and started planning. I wasn't going to get emotional or reckless. I needed a way to make her regret what she'd done. I wanted her to feel the same betrayal I was feeling, but I also wanted her to see that I was serious about ending this if she kept lying. I started digging into her phone history, her social media accounts, anything that could give me leverage. I knew she was a bitch, and I knew she'd try to deny everything, but I also knew I wasn't going to let her get away with this. The thing is, Emily had always been manipulative. She was good at hiding things, good at making herself the victim. I wasn't naive enough to think I could catch her in a straight-up lie and she'd admit everything. So I planned to catch her in her own game. I set up a few things, little surprises, messages, even a fake account to see if she'd slip up. I was determined to find out if she'd been cheating on me with anyone else besides Sarah, or if this was just a one-time thing. I wanted her to feel what it was like to be betrayed, to be hunted down like I was. When I finally executed my plan, I saw her start to crack. Her confident attitude, her bitchy smirk, gone. She got paranoid, started accusing me of spying, of invading her privacy. I kept my cool, knowing I had her exactly where I wanted her. I wanted her to see that I wasn't a fool, that I wasn't just going to accept her lies anymore. I was going to hold her accountable, no matter how much she tried to deny it. It was the beginning of her downfall, and deep down, I think she knew it. The betrayal had opened a door I'd never wanted to open, and now I was walking through it, ready to confront whatever came next. After I set my plan in motion, everything started to spiral faster than I expected. Emily's reactions were classic. Denial, anger, trying to turn the tables and make it seem like I was the one invading her privacy. She called me paranoid, accused me of mistrust and jealousy, but I didn't care anymore. I had the proof I needed. Her messages with Sarah, the photos they exchanged, the explicit talk about sneaking around, I had it all. It felt surreal, like I was watching some twisted movie where the hero gets betrayed by the one person he trusted most. The more she denied, the more I saw her panic. She'd call me over and over, begging, crying, trying to guilt-trip me into backing off. "It's just sex," she kept saying. "It doesn't mean anything, you're just being insecure, Jake." But I wasn't insecure, I was devastated. It wasn't just about sex. It was about her lying to my face for months, hiding her betrayal, disrespecting everything we supposedly had. One night I confronted her again. She sat on the couch, acting like she owned the place, her arms crossed, her bitchy smirk in place. I laid out everything I'd found, watched her face drain of color. Her excuses were pathetic. She claimed she was just bored, that Sarah was just a bad influence, that it was a mistake she hadn't meant to make. She kept insisting she loved me, that she was sorry, that she'd never do it again, but I could see through her. I saw the guilt, the way her hand trembled when she spoke, the way she avoided eye contact. I felt a strange mix of anger and pity. Anger because she had broken me, and pity because I realized she'd never genuinely cared about me. She just loved to play the victim, to manipulate her way out of trouble. I had to decide whether to forgive her or cut ties completely. I knew I couldn't go through with the wedding anymore. It was over. There was no trust left, no way to move past this. I told her that I was done, that I deserved more than a wife who cheated and lied. I told her I'd be leaving, that I wasn't going to let her ruin my life with her bullshit anymore. Her reaction was surprisingly calm, almost too calm. She looked at me with that bitchy smile again and said, "Fine, if you want to be dramatic, go ahead, but you'll see in the end you'll miss me. You always do." That's when I realized she was still trying to control the situation, still playing her games. I wasn't going to let her. I packed my bags that night and left, feeling a strange sense of relief mixed with heartbreak. It hurt so much to walk away from the person I thought I knew, but I knew I had no choice. I couldn't build a future with someone who lied and cheated, especially not just weeks before we were supposed to say, "I do." In the weeks that followed, I felt like I was waking up from a nightmare I'd been living in for too long. The pain of betrayal didn't just fade away. but it lost some of its sharp edge, replaced by a strange clarity. I realized that trusting someone isn't just about believing their words, it's about believing in their actions, in their integrity. Emily's lies, her manipulations, they'd shattered that trust beyond repair. Living without her was harder than I expected. I kept replaying everything, the moments I missed, the signs I ignored, the times I excused her behavior. But slowly I started to rebuild. I focused on myself, on my career, on friends who reminded me that I was worth more than someone who could toss aside a relationship like a disposable object. I learned that betrayal cuts deep, but it also teaches you who you really are and what you deserve. Looking back, I see her for who she really was, someone who loved to lie, who thrived on drama and deception, who never truly cared about me. I don't regret ending it. It hurts, yes, but I know I made the right decision. I've come to accept that some people aren't meant to stay in your life forever, no matter how much you want them to. Trust, once broken, is almost impossible to repair, and I refuse to be in a relationship where I'm constantly doubting, constantly second-guessing. If there's one thing I've learned from all this, it's that you have to put yourself first. No matter how much you love someone, if they betray that love, if they lie and cheat, you're better off walking away. And honestly, I feel better knowing I did. I may not have all the answers, and I may still feel the ache of betrayal sometimes, but I know I'll come out stronger. I've learned that you can't fix a broken trust. You can only walk away and hope that someday you find someone who's worth your love, your honesty, and your trust.